Hey YouTube, David from Live Forever Die Trying. Today I have my first. Is this out of focus? Today I have my first book haul. Alright? So, I don't like doing book hauls necessarily. I've tried in the past because I feel like I don't have a lot to talk about if I don't know what the book's about. And typically, my reading comes from books that are similar, books in the back of other books, like if I read a book about aging, other aging related books. So I kind of have a little bit of a premise of what it's about, but I don't fully know the content, so I don't feel like I can talk about it. That's why this one's a little bit different. Recently, I learned about MOOCs, or massive open online courses. And I found out about this through a Reddit thread where they're talking about like free education. And specifically for COVID relief, certain universities through edX or Coursera were offering free courses. So I figured there's nothing to lose. I took a Philosophy 101 course through the University of Edinburgh, and it was a blast. Basically, how it was laid out was 5 different teachers and lecturers talking about 5 different areas of inquiry within philosophy. So like theory of mind, do we have free will? How do you best perform science? What is truth and how does that relate to scientific findings? And it was just really engaging. Along the way through each of those lectures, it introduced a few different thinkers, and that got me super interested in philosophy. So what I did is I went online, bought a bunch of books. Most of them are used, so you'll have a little bit of wear on these covers back here. But yeah, I picked up 3 books that were specifically for introducing newbies to philosophy, and then I picked up some primary sources as well and some compilations of text. To start out, we have Tetralogue by Timothy Williamson, and this is a fairly short book. And from what I see from the cover, it's written as a Socratic dialogue, which is how Socrates laid out his ideas, was like through a play or a dialogue in order to get the idea across, which I read a lot about last year, and it's a really engaging way and digestible way to actually get the ideas. So it talks about 4 people that are on a train, and I can only assume they have a conversation in which they debate the merits of philosophy or debate how to best arrive at a truth. Really interested in jumping into this one. Secondly, we have Think by Simon Blackburn. And this feels like it's going to be most similar to the class I took. It's going to talk about different domains and the main questions that philosophy seeks to answer. It's a little bit bigger of a book, but still pretty short, coming in at a little under 300 pages before sources. Speaking of which, looking at the sources, I don't know if y'all can see this because of glare or whatnot, but we talk about the self, free will, mind, knowledge, God, reasoning, and what to do, specifically psychological egoism, Moore's open question, and Kant's polemic. I need to learn some philosophy. But yeah. It also has a bibliography in the back, so hopefully this will lead to more reading as well. But yeah, so we have one that talks about different, like how to do philosophy, which is Tetralogue. We have an introduction book about fields of inquiry within philosophy. And then we have Bertrand Russell's Problems of Philosophy. I have not read even the inner or outer cover of this. I love used books because we have a lot of notes and highlights and stuff in it. But yeah, this is going to be the exact opposite of the last book, I hope, where we talk about what philosophy has issues coming to terms with. So hopefully this gives me a balanced view on what philosophy can and can't do. Using Bertrand Russell as a tangent, we have Bertrand Russell's Freedom and Organization, 1814 to 1914, and this is a compilation of works by Bertrand Russell. And I picked this up at a used bookstore, so I don't know exactly what is actually in it. Reading about Bertrand Russell specifically, he was a British polymath, philosopher, logician, mathematician, historian, writer, social critic, and political activist, as well as a Nobel laureate. And he self-describes as a liberal, socialist, and pacifist. So we'll learn about that. Going to the opposite stereotype, we have somebody who is thought to be a nationalist, which is Nietzsche. And this is his basic writings. Now, reading about Nietzsche, I thought that stereotype was true. When I picked up this book, people joked that I was trying to become a Nazi by reading his works. But reading his Wikipedia page, just at a glance, it actually talks about when he died, his sister, Elizabeth, became the curator and editor of his manuscripts, and they actually published on his behalf, and he was linked to anti-Semitism and German nationalism through his sister, but specifically his works became associated with fascism, but in his writings themselves, he was explicitly opposed to a lot of these ideas. So this is supposed to be like his corrected manuscripts, and it has like 5 or 7 of his books in there. So hopefully this sets the record straight for me at least, and I learn about his contributions to philosophy. From one European to the next, we have Immanuel Kant and his Critique of Pure Reason. I picked up this one specifically because it was $2 through a used bookstore. Kant, I did learn about in the Philosophy 101 course, specifically with epistemology. So I'm hoping this is something similar. The back cover says, Kant's Critique of Pure Reason is the central text of modern philosophy. It presents a profound and challenging investigation into the nature of human reason, its knowledge and its illusions. Reason, Kant argues, is the seat of certain concepts that precede experience and make it possible, but we are not therefore entitled to draw conclusions about the natural world from these concepts. The critique brings together 2 opposing schools of philosophy, rationalism, which grounds our knowledge in reason, and empiricism, which traces our knowledge to experience. Kant's transcendental idealism indicates a third way that goes beyond these alternatives. So yeah, this is a chunk of a read. I have heard Kant described as a everyman's philosopher, where I'm hoping that means it's digestible for a layperson like myself. But yeah, I'm really interested to get into this. Then we go from semi-enlightenment Europe to a few Greek ancients. So I have Aristotle's Poetics, and I have Seneca's Letters from a Stoic. So starting out with Aristotle's Poetics, I believe this is specifically about philosophy of plays and how ideas are transmitted through plays and poetics. I don't know if I'm going to like this, because I've read a little bit about linguistics specifically in the past, and I did not finish any of those books. The study of linguistics is something I want to know about, but I don't have any interest in, and I cannot make myself interested in it. So I'm hoping this breaks the mold and isn't terribly inaccessible on that front. Then we have Seneca's Letters from a Stoics. So I read a little bit about Stoicism, I think specifically Marcus Aurelius, at the tail end of last year, and I like Stoic thought. It's the concept that you can't control what happens, but you can control how you react to it. Hoping this goes more in depth about that, and it should be a good read. So I do have quite a bit of philosophy that I need to get through. I've also picked up a few other books that are more political and economic philosophy that I'm going to kind of keep separated from this main group. And hopefully around the bend, I'll be able to push through some of these and do a on philosophy video. Hopefully I have a well-rounded list for what I can personally recommend as a good way to get introduced to this subject. So yeah, let me know if you've read any of these books or if you have any alternative recommendations, specifically introductory text preferably. I don't want to get too lost in primary text and then lose interest. So yeah, give me recommendations in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Are you interested in philosophy? Do you want to see more philosophy videos on this channel specifically? If so, drop a subscription for me, drop a like, and help me along the algorithm. See you guys around.